my sponsor, the way I shared, I think in both of the first two episodes, how I found sobriety walking into a meeting October 10th, 2011. After the meeting, after we prayed the Lord's Prayer together, a man darted across the room, looked me in the eyes and said, "I know exactly how you feel. You don't ever have to drink again." And I think he was, very intentional about that because he wanted to be the first to reach me and to work with me, and invited me to get coffee immediately afterwards. He basically told me, "I'm going to be your sponsor," and I was grateful for that. I can't, walked me through the 12 steps. I think one of the best definitions of sponsorship that I found is someone who will place your hand in the hand of God and take you through the 12 steps. That
Mm-hmm.
might be someone who you're making daily phone calls to throughout your recovery, particularly in the early stages of your recovery, just to check in with, set a day, an action plan for the day, and be someone who can pick up the phone if temptation arises or challenges exist, or learning to navigate through life. But yeah, so this man kind of thrusted his sponsorship upon me, which was a blessing. And we read through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous word for word together, the first 164 pages, created an index on that in the front cover of the book to refer to some key fundamental parts of the big book. He shared about the nature of the malady with me, the
Mm-hmm.
fourfold manifestation of alcoholism and addiction being biological, spiritual, emotional, and cognitive, and that all four of those areas of our lives need healing and can provide a great outlet for a spiritual awakening. And immediately shared with me as well, said, "Scott, never underestimate your ability to help the addict or alcoholic who still suffers." And not that I would be their sponsor per se, but would encourage me to be of service, to reach out to
Mm-hmm.
newcomers, even though I was rather new myself. And yeah, that he moved to Hawaii then about 6 or 8 months into my recovery,
Mm-hmm.
and actually kind of recognized that he had taken me as far as he could. He was, again, very devoted to recovery. Maybe a little bit is when it came to things like relationships and kind of growing professionally and things like that, was not as experienced, and so even was humble enough to know that maybe you'd probably be better off with working with someone else. And so he encouraged me to
Mm-hmm.
then go ask another guy. We kind of game planned who that might be. There's a man in a men's meeting that we attended weekly who I had great admiration for. And I remember asking him, "Hey, would you grab lunch with me, or can we get together sometime?" So he suggested a date and a time and a place. And I think
Mm-hmm.
he knew what was coming when I was asking him to get together. But I remember the butterflies in my stomach of, okay, I'm going to ask this guy. How do I ask him? Or do I just ask him right
Mm-hmm.
away? Do I make some small talk first? And
Yeah.
it really felt like I was asking a girl out on a date, kind of the
Mm-hmm.
same kind of emotions and commitment.
Right.
And kind of like dating, it's not forever in the form of dating until it is. But yeah, that man, then we worked through the steps again, and just, yeah, he was provided great support for me, and was someone who I could call on a regular basis. In fact, he helped when I was a few years into my recovery, started to date people. I was a little bit sheepish, and I remember this one day we got together weekly, and amidst our conversation, he had me write down 6 qualities of someone that I was looking for in a relationship, in a spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so my homework was to go home and write those 6 things, bring it back next week. I brought it to him. We added 3 more, so we had this list of 9 things. And he then
Mm-hmm.
turned that piece of paper back to me and said, "Okay, if you want to find this person, you need to be this person." And so it was even helpful in as I was discerning a relationship with my now wife, was helpful and can take some credit for that relationship forming and blossoming.